Hello, my loves. Welcome to Pain to Joy. My name is Danielle Sutty, and I am so thankful that you have chosen to be here with me today. How is your heart today? Mine is all right. Very thankful that I was able to get outside and sit on a bench and feel the sun on my face. It was very, very windy. My hair was blowing everywhere. I actually thought to bring a pillow out to make the bench more comfortable. And I'm so thankful that I thought to do that. And before I continue, I'm going to place one hand on my heart. And if I wasn't holding my phone, I would put another one on my belly. So please feel free to do that if that feels good and safe for you. And I'm not going to take a breath deep into my belly, but what I will do is take a breath that feels safe and expand my ribs out to the side. Feel free to join. Pause and exhale. And one more. Gently expanding the ribs outward. Pause and exhale. The last time I released a podcast was almost 9 weeks ago. It's been almost 9 weeks since I had a laparoscopic surgery to remove a large uterine fibroid. The surgery itself went well, and I'm extremely thankful to my surgeon and the surgical team and the nurses. And also, a few things went a little bit sideways the evening of the surgery and in the days following. And by the Saturday, the surgery was on a Monday, I discovered that I had shingles in my belly. So it has been a journey that I like to remind myself, and so many kind people have reminded me that is not linear. Healing is not linear, and as my wonderful osteopath, Christine Dixon, at Encompass Holistic Health here in Calgary, reminded me on Monday, healing isn't linear, nor should it be. And I know the first time I saw online a photo of what we think healing is and what healing truly is. So the picture is a horizontal and a vertical axis at 90 degrees, and then coming from the lower left corner, a line that just diagonally goes perfectly, I guess maybe at a 45-degree angle. And that's what we think healing looks like. And I truly think until I saw that, I thought, yeah, that's what healing looks like. Having been through so much healing myself, knowing that that's not actually true. And then an image beside it with the same horizontal and vertical 90-degree axis, and within that sort of square, a line that starts to go up, and then it squiggles, and it goes up, and it goes down, and it squiggles, and it goes in a circle, and it goes up, and it goes down, and it goes further down than it was before, and then it goes up, and then it continues to squiggle and goes in circles. And that, my loves, is what a healing journey should look like. And although it can be very disheartening at times, or it might feel that way, and it might feel as though you've taken more steps backward than you've taken forwards, I promise you, if you continue to take baby steps towards your healing, towards your dreams, towards whatever it is you're working towards, you will get there. But it's probably going to be a very squiggly line. And I'm currently in the midst of a very squiggly line. And I will be honest, I have found it particularly challenging. I acknowledge that I have been sharing on this podcast for, is it almost 2 years now? What I know to be true, which is everything happens for us, to learn from, to grow from. And yet, I have just found this last 9 weeks more challenging than some of the times I've had in the previous 15, 16 years of having a healing brain, having a healing body, etc. And I've realized that some of that, after having come back to my home in Calgary, has to do with my journey in the past, which included not being able to work as of November of 2015 until the present as a high school teacher. When I was first off work, I was sleeping 20 hours a day, and then it got a little bit better and better, and my brain is still healing from an accident years prior to that. But there was a point in my journey where I started to embrace the journey, where I surrendered to the truth that I would need to be at my home, rest a lot, surrendered to and accepted that I often have had to miss gatherings, parties, events, going outside when I want to, going for a walk when I want to, because that's just not available to my brain or my body. But something has happened in these last week or two, being back in Calgary, where I feel angry, frustrated, more than I ever recall. Now, part of that is hormones. Part of that is I was only sleeping on average about 2 hours a night for 3 or 4 weeks post-surgery. And I'm still now maybe getting 4 hours, sometimes 5 if I'm lucky. So I'm still recovering. I'm still catching up on sleep. I'm experiencing a lot of nerve, PAIN. But luckily, on Wednesday at counseling, I had a breakthrough where it became clear to me that, I'm grieving whatever grief and sadness and frustration and anger that I maybe didn't feel when I was journeying previously, when I was learning to embrace my journey. And that also makes me think about how healing isn't linear. And there's that other image that I've seen where it almost looks like a snail. So if you were to take your finger and put it up in the air and start in the middle and then start to circle outward and more like a spiral, that when you're healing, it's like layers. You're peeling back layers of an onion. And so perhaps when I accepted and surrendered to being in my home, needing to rest, needing to heal, missing events, missing out on things that I wish that I could have done, I accepted that at the time, but maybe there's anger, rage, frustration back then that I didn't feel because I wasn't able to feel the depths of that at that time in my healing journey. Whereas now I'm able to feel more deeply, which also is a gift. When we're able to feel anger more deeply, frustration more deeply, disappointed more deeply, then our joys, our excitement, our happiness, I believe then we can feel that even more deeply, with even more excitement, with even more enthusiasm. But I will say it can also be so incredibly uncomfortable. And I don't know if it's ironic, but last year my mantra through my counselor, who's incredible, was, I will be uncomfortable and I will be okay. And I don't know how many times I have repeated to myself in the last 9 weeks, I am uncomfortable and I will be okay. I say this to you now as I am lying in bed, and I must have minimum 11 pillows and a wedge pillow and different things holding me up, propping me up to keep me comfortable, as I've attempted to lie more flat over time, but it's still too much pressure, gravity from my healing uterus, healing fallopian tubes, healing shingles, so shingles, the nerve root. Oh my goodness gracious. But say it with me. I am uncomfortable and I will be okay. I am uncomfortable and I am okay. And through these last 9 weeks, something that I've learned is how to continue to hold myself more deeply. But something that I've learned on my healing journey is we are the only ones that can truly hold ourselves with the love, the care, the compassion that we need, in the ways that we need, in the ways that we desire. Now, that doesn't mean other people can't hold us. That doesn't mean other people can't love us. But ultimately, we are responsible to hold ourselves, to love ourselves, And then when we are held and we are loved and we are supported in ways that feel good and supportive to us, that is a wonderful bonus. So I have been learning how to nourish myself, love myself more deeply, because in the days following the surgery, some things that happened that to me were frustrating, bewildering, confusing, anger causing, rage inciting. My brain will never be able to make sense of that. I cannot change past events, but what I can do is love myself in this moment, come back to this moment, be present in this moment. And so when I'm humming, when I'm singing, when I'm meditating, when I'm coloring, when I'm grief journaling, I'm giving myself these gifts to bolster myself, to nourish myself, to love myself, to allow myself to process and allow myself to heal. And the biggest gift that mindfulness and meditation can give all of us is to remind us to keep coming back to the present moment. Because what I have noticed in the last 9 weeks is that I was doing okay. I was doing okay when things were consistently at an 8.5 out of 10 PAIN. That was more manageable, that was more tolerable, when in the last week or so, I might have days where it's a 6, because then my brain thinks, oh, I wish I could do more. I wish I could see my friends. I wish I was up to this. I wish I could do that. And I'm not staying in the present moment. Or when I wake up in the morning and I'm trying to meditate and my brain wants to ruminate on these things that happen post-op that I can't make sense of, that I want to make sense of, I'm not in the present moment. So the moment I place my hands on my ribs, I breathe to expand slightly. Take a pause, breathe in. I am being fully in this present moment. And in this moment, I am lying in this bed. In this moment, I'm looking out the window. In this moment, I'm recording a podcast. In this moment, I'm speaking to you. And my body feels peaceful. And my brain and I feel peaceful. And I'm not saying that this is easy. I have a sore throat because the other day I was screaming into a house coat that I balled up because I was feeling so much rage from the healing and the hormones and the construction noise outside and loudness above me. But I journaled and I came and I lay down. I thought the screaming would help, so I tried that. But it didn't seem to do the release that I was hoping for. And I lay in bed and I did box breathing. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but you can breathe in for 4. You could try it with me now if you like. So you breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Even if you were to do 4 rounds of that, it helps calm you down. And what I've found is it interrupts those thought patterns that I haven't been able to stop at times. The rage that makes me feel like I want to scream and in fact scream. And it's all part of it. I'm sharing different tools, the humming, the singing, coloring, meditating. But the one thing that we can do, but it's a practice and we have to do it over and over and over and over, is keep coming back to the present moment. So my invitation to you is to notice when you're feeling stressed, when you start to feel more overwhelmed. When is that happening? because I acknowledge that for me, it's happening when I'm living in the past, I'm reliving the past, I'm ruminating about a past that I cannot change, or I'm thinking about a future that hasn't happened yet. And there's a quote by Corrie Ten Boom that I have loved for years, and I believe it's, "Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength." Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. And I used to have that up in my room somewhere. I saw it years ago for the first time, and it really struck me. There's another quote, I can't remember who said, "Most of the things we worry about never happen." And I know that, but it's human. And please don't take me sharing this as I think that the things that you ruminate about, that you are anxious about, that keep you up at night are insignificant. Not at all. Most of my friends are moving through perimenopause. The hormones are wild. The sleep can be non-existent. I know that I'm not the only one having rage issues or hormone fluctuations, crazy menstrual cycles. But I'm speaking as someone who for almost 9 weeks has woken up almost every day where my brain would think about all these things that happened post-op because I wanted to be able to tell my surgeon, and I was going to write him before I saw him, and then I thought, well, I'll just wait until I see him, and then I did write everything down, and then I still went rogue in my appointment, thinking I may never see him again, saying the things that I needed to say. He's really, really wonderful. And I'm so thankful that he listened, and he listened compassionately, and he cared. But I couldn't make the thoughts stop. And even in the last week or two, there are different thoughts to be had because I did see him and he shared some things with me. So then my brain is thinking about other things that may or may never happen in the future. But what I do feel is valuable is it's still okay to talk about it. It's still okay to share or vent or chat with someone you love. And remind yourself when it gets to be too much to pause, to place your hand on your heart or a hand on either side of your ribs or a hand on your belly. Close your eyes if it feels safe and breathe. And I'm not saying that it's a magical quick fix that placing your hands on either side of your ribs or your belly or your heart and breathing for 20 seconds or for 5 minutes means that you're not ever going to feel anxiety or means that you're going to become some meditation guru who just always lives in the present. But the gift that meditation and mindfulness brings us is back to the present. And that's where peace exists. And one might say, well, what if I'm experiencing PAIN? What if I start to think about all the things going on in the world, etc.? Okay, so let's come back to where you are in this moment. I, in this moment, am experiencing nerve pain in my belly. It's been quite uncomfortable for the last 2 days in a way that I have not experienced in the last 9 weeks. So what I will say is, this is unfamiliar. It's challenging. But I can place my hand on my heart. Tell myself I'm okay. And breathe. And so I'm not sure when I started meditating. I'm not sure when I started learning about mindfulness. But what I know to be true is it's a gift that keeps on giving. And even if it feels impossible at times, even if it feels like there's no way that my brain is going to shut off. Even in those times when you feel like you can't fall asleep at night because your brain is going a mile a minute. You've tried to breathe. You've done this. You've done that. I still feel the value in coming back to it, because after nearly 9 weeks of guided meditations every day, humming, singing, journaling that I've mentioned multiple times, today I finally had a shift. Now that might not make you feel very hopeful. However, as I mentioned, I was getting very minimal sleep. My hormones are all over the place. I'm experiencing still a significant level of PAIN. That's not linear. I don't know when, why, etc. But I can't imagine, had I not been practicing those things, how much longer it would take for me to have some sort of breakthrough. And today I had a breakthrough. Now, one might say it's the spring equinox. One might say the energy in the air is a little different. We've had sunshine here. I was able to sit outside the last couple of days. I had a physio appointment yesterday that was incredibly helpful. Counseling, the osteopath, people that have listened, people that have been present. Obviously, those are huge factors in some of the shifts. Today, as I was meditating, I thought of something that I haven't thought about in a long time, even though I've been aware the last few weeks that had things been different the first day after surgery, for example, or my brain was thinking, well, I probably shouldn't have been released from the hospital the first day. Maybe things could have been a bit different. But I had the quote come into my mind, which is, even though things could have been different, doesn't mean they would have been better. Even though things could have been different, doesn't mean they would have been better. And that phrase can be helpful in so many situations, because oftentimes when we think back about something that happened that we can't make sense of, we think, if I just did this or if I just did that. And in my case, as always, I've been advocating, and my poor dad was at my surgeon's appointment, and he said to the surgeon, what more could we have done? Multiple times, they advocated for me to stay in the hospital, knowing that my nausea wasn't under control, my PAIN wasn't under control. But I have had the thought, well, who knows what would have happened if I stayed there. But today it's different, and it's better because it could have been different. It might not have been better. Maybe had I stayed in the hospital, something else would have gone sideways. I'd have even more traumatic things to heal from. So what happened, happened. And here we are. And am I still in disbelief about the things that happened? Am I still in disbelief that I got the shings? Am I still in a space where I have a hard time mentally believing that things will improve? That, as my physio amazingly was wonderful yesterday said, it won't always be like this. True. And my brain is having a struggle because I've had post-operative neuralgia on my right side of my upper body since 2018. That acted up as well when the shings started about 8.5 weeks ago. So because I still experience creepy crawlies under my skin, itchiness, burning pain at times, I've had that since 2018. My brain is having a challenging time believing that this PAIN and sensitivity in my belly is going to improve. Do I know logically that it will over time? Did the doctor say nerves heal? Yes, but even right now, I'm like, I know that, but it's been, how many years is that? Oh my gosh, how many years has that been? 8 years? So I'm just going to take it day by day. I'm going to keep coming back to the present moment. I'm going to keep trusting each moment as it comes. I'm not going to get ahead of myself because I was. And I don't like the word suffering, but it is true when we start to think about this hypothetical future that may never happen, it stresses us out. And like I said before, most of the things that we worry about, maybe 99% of the things we worry about never happen. To be fair, I never worried that I was going to get the shings after this surgery. I was worried about other things, and none of those things happened. And also, there's this idea too that, which is true, you, my love, have overcome, have risen above any of the challenging things that have ever happened in your life. No matter what challenge arises, even if it takes longer than you think, even if it's incredibly challenging, you will overcome. And I say that to you as much as I say that to myself. And maybe you overcome it more quickly when you allow yourself to feel how uncomfortable it is, how angry you are, how frustrated you are, how bewildered you are. And let yourself feel that, but also grieve it. Also tuck it away for the rest of the day so that your brain can access more joy, so that your brain can access more hopeful feelings. Because that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm doing the best that I can. And we're all just doing the best that we can. And right now, the best I can do is rest when I need to, walk up and down the street, take breaks on the benches when I need to, increase my steps every day, increase the stairs that I'm walking up and down every day. I started at 4 stairs, walking up, walking down, probably 3 weeks post-op. And the other day, I believe I walked, the most I've walked, I think, is 56. So not walking up 56 steps, but up 4, down 4. Today, I had to cut that in half because of the PAIN increase yesterday. But I'm doing the best that I can. And rather than be sad or frustrated or angry that I'm not yet in a space where I feel like I can connect with the people I love, I'm going to live in the present. And when the day comes when I can be with people, reconnect with people, feel comfortable being around people, I'm going to enjoy that present moment so much. And I'm going to invite myself and invite you to enjoy this present moment so much, whatever it is. And again, one might say, oh, how can you enjoy a present moment that includes a lot of PEIN or a lot of isolation or a lot of who knows what's next? Well, we never know what's next. We don't know what's next, but what I do know is in this moment, I have the gift of my voice. I have the gift of a phone and technology and a warm home, running water. I have the ability to be thankful for what I do have, to remain hopeful for what will come. And in this moment, I can breathe. I can say thank you to you for listening. I can thank myself for doing the best that I can, sharing as authentically as I can. And I can continue to extend an invitation to you to be kind to yourself, to be loving towards yourself, and to practice coming back to the present moment, because that is something we can all do to ease this non-linear ride of life, healing journey, as much as we can for ourselves and for each other. Thank you for being a witness. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your listening, your encouragement, your support. Sending you love until we meet again. Please feel free to connect with me on Facebook, Danielle Sutty, on Instagram, Danielle.Sutty, on TikTok, Danielle Sutty, and you can also listen to this podcast on YouTube, Danielle Sutty Pain to Joy podcast. Thank you for listening. Listening is loving. I appreciate hearing how the episodes land for you. If you'd like to connect with me on social media by direct message or email me at dksutty@yahoo.ca. Thank you for following and sharing and subscribing. Every little bit helps. I appreciate you, and I am wishing you peace and so much love and so much joy in your day.